Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Shavon Meyers on Talking Wellness.
And I'm Calvin from Kiva.
And we are sponsored by the Kiva Centers. The Kiva Centers is a nationally recognized Indigenous-led peer-run trauma-informed organization. The organization focuses on development and promotion of healing communities for people experiencing different social class impacts like trauma, mental health, and substance use. And you are listening to Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection. All right. And we have a lovely guest today, Miss Kimberly Lee.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Okay. So what we'll do until she comes on is we'll talk a little bit about, Kiva and what's new. How's Kiva celebrating the holidays, Halloween? You did mention like a Halloween party last time.
Yes, on Friday, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
It landing on the actual day.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot better.
Exciting. Yep.
We do got a lot of other things going on for anybody who wants to be more trauma informed. We have our tips training for Worcester residents. If you want a $25 gift card like incentive, you get that after completing the training. And it's about 1 to 2 hours depending on the group, but like it's a really nice training just to be able to give support to those you have around you. So
absolutely,
even yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely. And I want to say to anyone listening, like as we go into the darker months, really just take care of yourself.
Oh yeah.
For people who do have like depressive disorders, you may notice like that sliding change. Change in mood. Obviously the months are getting darker, colder. Really have like that coping skills box set up. Try to think about enjoyable activities that you can do during this time. And then there's like another shift hitting April, right? When the weather changes again. So it's just like another free note out there for you.
It's honestly hard to adjust to it getting darker earlier.
Yes. Yeah. Like you're like, it ain't even 7 o'clock yet.
Yeah. Confused about what day it is.
And then everyone's starting to get like the flu and cold season. Like it couldn't wait. It didn't even warm up on us. It was just like it hit with a bam. Like
next Sunday is going to be like 60, 70 degrees. So it's such a switch.
And that can be like a part of it, like the whole thing with it, like the weather fluctuating and things going into the air and that sort of thing. So yeah, definitely. All right. So today we'll talk a little bit about, mental health, obviously, and like the resources out there, and just really looking at like what people can do as far as, really following up on their mental health. And we'll talk about that more with Ms. Kimberly Lee and
I'm very
what
excited.
MiraVista has to offer.
Yes.
Hello. Hi, Kimberly. How are you?
I'm well. I'm so sorry. I was having a little bit of technical difficulty, but are you able to see me?
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Oh, I'm having such a good hair day too. I'm hoping that you'll be able to.
I hate when that happens, like when you're ready and just like.
I know. So I apologize for that.
And that's okay.
I will continue to work diligently here to see what I might be doing wrong.
That's okay. So, Kimberly Lee, you're a returning guest. I'm so excited. I've been seeing you everywhere.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm very glad.
Things and just like you're really MiraVista Behavioral Health. They're really just putting themselves out there and really servicing the community where we need it. And so that's really exciting. And like I said, I've been seeing you on the news. I've been seeing you in different, activities, really just, collaborating with other individuals in the community. So all of that is great.
I think so too, Shavon. And that actually, that means a lot to have you say that, to hear you say that, because we are working very hard to ensure that people know MiraVista and TerraVista as well, that we're here, that we're ready when they're ready, and that, talking about mental health or seeking treatment for mental health is really no different than seeking treatment for how you're feeling physically, because at the end of the day, mental health is health.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you're the chief of creative strategy and development at MiraVista. So
Correct.
tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and your role with the organization.
Sure. Thank you, Shavon.
Mhm.
So I've been as the chief of creative strategy for the Vistas. I've been with the organization for just about 4 years now, and I have to honestly say I love what I do. I
Mhm.
love my role with the organization. I love being that conduit between the community and between the inpatient treatment and outpatient substance use that we're providing.
Mhm.
Before I was with MiraVista, or the Vistas, I should say, I was with the Mental Health Association. Before that, with the Center for Human Development. So, really, all of my adult career has been spent in positions helping people to access treatment, whether it be for mental health or substance use, or at the Center for Human Development. I oversaw a program called the Cancer House of Hope.
Mhm.
So it really has been quite a privilege in my career to help people access the care and the treatment that they've needed for a variety of challenges and illnesses, and cannot overstate, or I should say, cannot understate what a difference, how it feels to be able to make a difference in people's lives. It's extremely rewarding.
Absolutely. Definitely. Um, and you guys are definitely, doing that and putting yourself out there. Now, for those who don't know about MiraVista, tell us a little bit about the organization, what services you guys have.
Sure. So, MiraVista Behavioral Health Center is located in Holyoke, Massachusetts. So, we are in Western Mass. Just a very short drive from the greater Worcester area.
Mm-hmm.
And we are an 88-bed inpatient psychiatric behavioral health hospital. We have 16 beds that are for adolescents who are in age from 13 to 17. If
Mm-hmm.
they are 18 and still in high school, we will admit them onto the adolescent unit. However, if they are 18 and they are not attending high school, we will admit them onto one of our adult units. And there are 4 of those. So one unit is set aside for teens, and the other 4 units at MiraVista, or 72 beds, are for adults. So
Mm-hmm.
all in all, we have 88 beds for inpatient psychiatric treatment, and then a whole host of outpatient substance use programming. We are actually the longest standing, most established opioid treatment program in Western Massachusetts. We have been dosing methadone for decades, and we are now providing additional medicated assisted treatments, such as Suboxone, Vivitrol, Sublocade, and Brixadi.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in addition to an intensive outpatient program for substance use, as well as one-on-one outpatient substance use counseling.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's definitely awesome, Calvin.
I was gonna say that's amazing. Thank you for all you
Great.
do, really. But my question to you really is, what are the kind of like difficulties that people face when they're trying to find mental health or substance use services?
That's actually a very, very good question. And thank you for asking, because there is still so much stigma attached to individuals reaching out for whether it be substance use or for mental health treatment. You know, if we were at work and, let's say, we, met a colleague, we're, both filling up our coffee cups in the cafeteria, and you notice somebody, might not be standing up straight or tall, and you say, geez, Shavon, Are you having, back trouble, or, how are you feeling? Oh, geez, yeah, I did yard work all weekend and my back is really bothering me.
Mm-hmm.
However, when we look at somebody and they might not be their usual selves, perhaps they seem a bit distraught, or obviously something is bothering them emotionally, that ease of conversation and that ease of asking how they're feeling emotionally isn't always as comfortable. But how are you are the three most important words you can ask an individual when it does come to gauging how they're feeling emotional. So I do think that there is still too much stigma attached to individuals receiving mental health, and that may stop some from receiving the treatment that they would really benefit from.
Yeah, definitely. People don't want to be judged. It can be a scary process, People have lack of support too from outside.
That's true.
There's a lot going on behind that. And then once they go in, sometimes when they go into inpatient and then they try, once they're discharged, it's like, what's the prognosis? Like, can we keep them level-headed to a point where they wouldn't relapse, or what does the aftercare look like, and that sort of thing?
And that's, Shavon, an important part of treatment as well is certainly the treatment that individuals will receive while they're inpatient at MiraVista and TerraVista, but also the next step of their journey as well. So the social work teams at both hospitals work on discharge on the day you're admitted. So,
Yes.
What are your next steps? Do you have an outpatient therapist? We need to hook you up with a psychiatrist. We want to make sure that if medicine is prescribed during your treatment with us, we want to make sure that you have a pharmacy and that prescription is filled. If you're having difficulty accessing housing, if you are having difficulty applying for food stamps, or any of those social determinants of health that are going to negatively affect a person's ability to return to their community in a positive way and in a healthy way, is what our social work and our discharge planners work on. It's really, oh, I'm so sorry. I was just going to add, it's very hard to focus on your mental health if you are a victim of domestic violence per se, or if you are unhoused. So really helping people with all of those various aspects of their lives, which may be negatively impacting their mental health, are also a very big part of their treatment for their mental health.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kim, too, like when you brought up one thing that's important, and I was a director of a PHP program for substance use and mental health. And the hardest part is the housing piece.
Yes.
So I really had to buy people time with their insurance to say, okay, this person is high risk. They're not ready. We're trying to get housing in place. We're trying to find somewhere where they can stay, right? Because we can't release them into the street.
Right.
So that's the hardest part too.
Oh my goodness. I think, do we have liftoff? Can you see me?
Yep, absolutely. We can see you. Perfect. But you know what? We'll talk more right after the break. I'm your host, Shavon Meyers on Talking Wellness.
And I'm Kelvin from Kiva.
And you are listening to Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection.
Unity Radio. It's the hangout talk, just kicking around. We discovered a love that had never been found. Worcester, we got you. Activa la radio y Unity Radio 97.9 FM te invitan a escuchar el bloque latino todos los sábados de 7 de la mañana hasta la 1 de la tarde por los 97.9 FM en la ciudad de Worcester.
It's your girl, Desiree G, with your Unity in the Community on Unity Radio 97.9. Thursday, October 16th, Strategies for Children host Early Childhood Summit at Mechanics Hall from 2 to 6 p.m. On Friday, October 17th, join Fam Jam in collaboration with Guitar Center, featuring their first ever drum off at Rockland Plaza Trust, 45 Green Street, starting at 3 p.m. Saturday, October 18th, check out Art in the Heart of Maine South. Music, trick-or-treating, food, and fun from 1 to 5 p.m. at University Park, 29 Crystal Street in Worcester. I'm Desiree G, and this is your Unity in the Community on Unity Radio 97.9 Worcester Community Connection.
Hey, what's up, Worcester? It is Jacqueline Carr, and I'm inviting you to be inspired with me each weekday morning starting at 5 a.m. with the Jacqueline Carr Show on Unity Radio. I'll get you going with the motivating words, special guests, and the absolute best inspirational music, and a few other surprises. But you got to tune in to Unity Radio every day at 5 a.m. to get your praise on. It's the Jacqueline Carr Show from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. right here on Unity Radio 97.9, Worcester's Community Connection, and also streaming on WUTY.org.
Hi, I'm Shavon Meyers, host of Talking Wellness, and you're listening to Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection. Hello, everyone, and I'm your host, Shavon Meyers on Talking Wellness.
And I'm Kelvin from Kiva.
And we are sponsored by the Kiva Centers, and you're listening to Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection. And we are back. All right. Hi, Kim. How are you?
Hello, I'm well. How are you?
Good. Had a good break?
I did. I love the commercials. Actually, I actually have to also just thank you for inviting me back. I really did enjoy our first experience together all those years ago. And so being able to hear the commercials and all of the exciting things that are happening in the community, it's very heartwarming. There's a lot of very positive things happening in the greater Worcester area.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. Well, you guys are most certainly doing great things. And from MiraVista, I wanted to know, how has it grown and changed from the last time we've met, right? Because I know it seems like you guys were developing a team, like you were hiring a bunch of people. So what has changed? What's new? What's the makeup of the team that you guys have? Because I know we talked a lot about diversity, people having lived experiences and that sort of thing.
A lot happening, a lot of very good, a lot of good. Mm-hmm. We are growing. In fact, from the last time that we had our conversation, we grew pretty exponentially in terms of the number of beds that we provided. And now, to coin the phrase, here we grow again, we are adding another 40 beds at MiraVista. Oh, wow. So the first 10 should be online by November 15th. And then as we move forward through the new year, as we hire nursing and more staff, we will continue to grow until we reach that additional 40. But so needed. We have referrals that come in every single day, and we have to sadly, say to folks, we are full. However, our census does turn over. We have individuals who discharge every single day. So if they are in a safe space and they can wait until the next morning, we will pre-admit them so that when morning comes, they wake up and in they come.
Great. And you hit it on the nail there, because I was going to ask you about the referral process and what that looks like for anyone who's never really been inpatient. It can be a scary process. Heck, even doing the first phone call can be a scary process because
it is. And again, a great point. In fact, Tonight I will be loading up our podcast, which is called Vista Voices, Stories of Recovery. And it is available on our website. It's also available on our social media. But I bring that up because my guest on that episode is our Director of Admissions, Patrick Connon.
Okay.
So we spend a little bit of time. Our podcasts are short. They're only about 15 minutes long, but we spend a good amount of that time talking about how the admission process works. So first and foremost, people should know MiraVista is now, and TerraVista, we are both now offering what is referred to as a direct admission process, which means individuals no longer need to go to the emergency department before they can be admitted into an inpatient facility such as MiraVista and TerraVista. Now, with that said, if an individual is listening to this, if they need our assistance, of course, direct admission would be an opportunity for them. However, for individuals who are not in a safe space, who are in a true crisis, and are feeling that they can't wait for that process to happen, then in those instances, the emergency department is always the best first step because they'll be safe and they can be assessed in the ED. But the direct admission process has been amazing to watch. And I can give you a little bit of a case scenario, if you will, of how it works.
Absolutely.
So we'll get called. Somebody will call me directly, or they'll call our admissions department, and they will say, I am not feeling well emotionally. I am contemplating harming myself. I'm contemplating, harming others. I don't feel that I can safely stabilize my mental health. What do I do? So if they are in a community or in the community and they are not calling from a doctor's office, we may refer them first to a community behavioral health center. So those community behavioral health centers, or the CBHCs as they're referred to, are 24-hour walk-in day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, walk-in access to mental health. So we'll direct them to a CBHC. We will call the CBHC in advance to let them know this individual is coming. Once that assessment is done, they'll call MiraVista and we'll coordinate the admission. However, if somebody is attached to a pediatrician's office, a primary care, a nonprofit organization, we have nonprofits call us all the time saying, we have a young person or we have an individual who is here seeking therapy. We feel that their mental health has risen to the point where inpatient is now appropriate. What they've been receiving in an outpatient setting is just not really adequate. There's not enough sustenance there for what this individual needs. We now have a referral form that those providers, an LICSW, an LMHC, a psychiatrist, a primary care doctor, can fill out, letting us know clinically how this person is presenting mentally from their behavioral health perspective. They'll email that, they'll fax it, we'll have a conversation with them. And if it seems that their level of care is appropriate for inpatient, we'll admit them. It usually happens so just this morning, for example, we had a nonprofit organization call. They had a young person they were working with. They called, they sent over the referral. 2 hours later, we were working on their admission. They'll be coming in today at 6:00. No emergency department, no unnecessary trip in an ambulance, no 12 or 13 hours waiting. Parents didn't have to take time off of work to be with their young person. Again, it's been an amazing process to watch.
Yes, that's definitely like
Amazing.
amazing and lightweight
Yeah.
because you spend hours in the emergency
Oh
room
yeah.
and then to get evaluated, and it's just an intense process to begin with, and it can be a deterrent too, like that you have to go through A to get to B.
Mhm.
So it's good that it's very direct. I like that.
And
Mhm.
and again, it is, you know, we've had individuals who, so MiraVista is not a detox. We are not a detox program. However, if you have a primary diagnosis of mental health and a secondary of substance use disorder, we can detox you safely on an inpatient unit. But again, that primary diagnosis has to be mental health. But I mention that because we are frequently called by recovery coaches around Massachusetts who have an individual definitely needs assistance with their mental health, but also needs help with their substance use. And the minute those recovery coaches welcome, or I should say mention, going to the emergency department, their clients no longer want to continue the conversation.
Yeah.
These direct admissions have been has been a game changer in terms of individuals being able to bypass that directly and come into Mira and Terra.
Absolutely. And Kiva they have an inpatient?
Yeah, it's alternative to hospital stay. Mental hospital stays are respite homes,
Yep.
mobile respite. It's kind of just like a house where it's usually up to, I believe, 10 guests, and it's just a space where, say, this is my perfect example that I use. Say
Yep.
you are having a death of a family member come anniversary, and you don't feel safe being home alone. If you need a more of one-on-one support from a staff member that's there, it's there, and it's non-clinical, but it's very, very useful. And even with the mobile respite, just for people getting to those who can't even leave their homes or don't feel safe to go. So a lot of these services are great.
Sounds
Kiva,
like you guys can connect.
Yeah, definitely.
I was just going to say that I think this radio show is going to have to hit the road, Kiva. I think we're definitely going to have to connect, because we would love to be more aware of that programming and while at the same time, if you should have individuals who come to you but who require a higher level of care, we'd love to be there for you as well.
Yeah. We can definitely do some work.
And I always look at this as like, I'm putting my director hat on, as like a holding, a placement holding.
Yes.
Right. Just for the moment until, we hear something, but as long as the individual's in a safe place and receives some type of services, if it's appropriate, placement holder is what it's called. So yeah. So that's always hard to find. And then some people just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
But if you work together collaboratively, it can be a very smooth process.
Oh yeah.
And an individual in this field many, many years ago said to me, and this phrase has stuck with me in my work, and that is that, a rising tide floats all boats. And when we all work together and when we come together as a community and, we all hold a bucket, right? People can receive much quicker and much kinder treatment when it's needed, because we are collaborating and we're working together. And it's so important in our field that, we just all lock arms and be there to support individuals in their time of need.
Absolutely. So Kim, you guys have a makeup of nurses, psychiatrists, mental health clinicians. A lot of people like to deal with people that they can relate to or that they feel safe with. So let's talk a little bit about the team and the dynamic. Is it friendly, warm, welcoming, that sort of thing?
Absolutely. And, and I can say that with pure sincerity and to be genuine, because the individuals who choose to work in an inpatient psychiatric setting are a very special brand of people. They are working in a facility where we very often will see people at their absolute worst, but yet be able to help them on the next step of their journey so that when they leave us, they're now seeing them at their most recent best. So we also want to make sure that the individuals who are providing care and treatment very much look and sound like the individuals who are receiving treatment. So the diversity of our staff is something that we are very, very proud of, whether it's cultural or linguistic, in different language. But we really are very proud of the diversity that we have across all levels of the organization, from our medical director to our mental health technicians to our dietary team. We all bring, not only a sense of diversity in terms of ethnicity, but also diversity of thought and diversity in our experiences and in our expertise as well.
Absolutely. And we'll be back after the break. I'm your host, Shavon Meyers on Talking Wellness.
And I'm Calvin from Kiva.
And you're listening to Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Whispers Community Connection.
Hey, it's DJ Kid Cash on the ones and twos. Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connections.
Hi, I'm Storm, and I'm a part of the Bruce Wells Scholars Upward Bound program. The Upward Bound program is a program that helps many promising low-income, first-generation, college-bound Worcester High School students. After joining this program, I've learned many different and important life skills while making new connections and getting real-world experiences through internships and classes. If you're interested in any of these opportunities, you can find more information at www.sevenhills.org or 617-866-1293. That's www.sevenhills.org or 617-866-1293. A brighter future begins with you.
At KivaCenters.org, we believe every story matters and healing starts with being heard. The Kiva Centers are here to explore the paths of mental health, recovery, and wholeness with you. Visit KivaCenters.org, a statewide leader in peer-led support and recovery services, from Worcester to Western Mass. More information is available at KIVACenters.org. Kiva is lighting the way forward.
Tune in to Affirmations with Alex, and together we will affirm our way to a healthier mindset by listening to empowering messages. Hi, I'm Alex from Affirmations with Alex. Join me every Monday through Thursday at 10 p.m. on Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Q, host of the Woo 508, and I'm here with
your girl Liza, Miss Consistency. And it's your girl Chantel in the building.
Yes, y'all. Go ahead and follow us everywhere. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, the Woo 508. That's THEWOO 508. Woo! Throw me a bone. Step into the Woo 508. Now you're in the zone.
You're listening to Unity 97.9 FM, WUTY. Let's talk, Worcester.
Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Shavon Meyers on Talking Wellness.
And I'm Calvin from Kiva.
And we are sponsored by the Kiva Centers, and you're listening to Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection. All right, welcome back. So we were talking a lot about like the development of the team and the diversity, because you guys are located in Holyoke, correct?
And Devens. Devens. Yep, Devens, yes. Mass and Holyoke, Mass.
Yep. I Gosnold, because I worked for them as a PHP director. We have a new PHP program out there in Devens. So that's interesting. So is that new, or has it always been out there in Devens?
So MiraVista was actually our first hospital. So they've been online. It will actually be 10 years next year. So they were the first of the Vistas.
Nice. Perfect. All right. So it's good to know that people can, when they come there and they admit in that they have culturally, they feel safe, and it's a huge thing, but it's not a huge thing. I think it's also a game changer because a lot of people come in, there's that stigma already with mental health and substance use, and then culturally, right? And so there are all these barriers that can make someone feel a certain way and have these things run through their minds before they get to meet people and open up to them, right? To know that everyone can be a support and help.
Yes.
So presentation is the thing.
It's important.
Yeah, definitely. Now for
Very
kids,
much so.
do they have to have, they don't have to go to the emergency room for anything, right?
No,
They just,
no,
it's like a,
really
yeah,
just
that's what I
show up.
thought. Yeah.
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 I'll definitely say the few times I've been at Terra Vista, it's very, very diverse. And I do like that. And I do enjoy that. A lot of the MHTs, they're a little bit like the younger adults too. So like I've been on the child unit there. So I've seen some MHTs that are like, 21, 22, and like the patients who are there, they can relate. It's easier to really talk and like, feel more comfortable in the space they're in. So
Absolutely.
Very much so. In fact, it was interesting. We were at an event not too long ago, and there was a young person who was helping, and they saw my name tag, which said MiraVista. And this is interesting in terms of our conversation a little bit ago about stigma. But she said, "Oh my gosh, you're with MiraVista or Terra Vista?" And I said, "Well, my office is located at MiraVista, but I work for both MiraVista and Terra Vista." And she said, as loudly and as proudly as she could, "I love Terra Vista. I've been there a lot. And every time I've been there, I feel that I've always had the time and care and attention paid to me. I come out feeling better, ready to, face the world." And I thought, good for you.
Right.
She was so proud to say that her experience at Terra Vista, and, she was young. She was, I want to say maybe she was 23, 24 years old, but she just was so happy and so proud that, she was able to advocate for herself and to receive the care that she needed for her mental health.
Absolutely. And it's good to hear good things, right? Because again, working as a director, everyone has their own opinion about their services, and it can be like a biased experience if someone's not getting what they want or what they need, and then they may write these things or say these things about certain places, and then there's a lot to it. And so it's really good to not allow, if someone is having a negative experience, we don't know what that situation was, and we don't know where the other person's head space was on the other end. And so it's good to go in and experience treatment for yourself if it's really needed, and not have that be a deterrent for you or as a barrier, or not an excuse to get treatment at all.
Right. Agreed. No, very much. It's it really is any hospital stay that an individual will experience. There is always I don't want to say fear, because that's too strong of a word, but there's questioning. People want to know what does it look like, and what will I do while I'm there, and if I'm a vegetarian, or if I need gluten-free, or if I'm Muslim and I need a certain kind of diet, will they respect that? And I'm very proud to say that we do. Just in terms of our food as one example, we're very sensitive to what individuals have, not only from a health perspective in terms of what their dietary needs are, but whether it's religious or personal beliefs that they have. We really spend a lot of time during the admission in talking with individuals about what they might need. And again, I'm just focusing on the dietary, but I think it's a great example of how sensitive we are to our patients when they come in for treatment, because you are both exactly right. You know, if you have somebody who's coming in and they're very much in need of mental health treatment, and they also happen to be a vegetarian, and every day that they're there, you know, we're serving meat. Well, that's not very good patient care. So we work very closely with individuals who come in to be sure that we are as respectful and as responsive as we can be.
And you can go on the site, or when you're calling in for admission or information in general, you can ask about these things, right? And now we're going to be wrapping it up soon, Kim. So lastly, I wanted to ask about family involvement.
Yes.
And how that works.
So anytime an individual is admitted to either MiraVista or MiraVista, visits from friends and family are absolutely encouraged. In fact, on both of our websites, there is a little navigation tab labeled patients and visitor information. And that's where loved ones, family members can determine or call. They can call their loved one's unit. They can get a hold of the house supervisor. You know, reception can be very, very busy, especially during the morning when it's discharge time. And so our receptionist may not be able to always answer the phone, but on our website, the number to each of the units and to our house supervisor is purposefully listed because we want individuals to be able to access their loved one's provider team, their clinical team. Each unit also has a phone, a patient phone, so that individuals who are with us seeking treatment are able to call. They can call their loved ones. They can call, you know, family and friends as well. But family and friends visitation is always, always encouraged, except in those instances when our patient, an adult, may not want a particular individual to visit them. So out of respect, every patient who comes into the hospital is asked to complete a visitation log, and they can list the names of the individuals who they would welcome a visit from. And if those names of individuals who come and want to visit are not on that list, we will always reach out to the patient first to see if they would be willing to add them. But if they're not, then, you know, sadly, we can't welcome them because it's up to the patient in terms of who can visit and not visit.
And that's good to know, because being an inpatient can be a very scary experience for some people. And a lot of people may think of it as, like, if you haven't experienced it or don't know much about it, as like a lockdown and everything being stripped away from you. I mean, and I think that's on a case by case basis, depending on, you know, the level and intensity of what's happening with the person and the symptoms that they're experiencing. But in general, I think a lot of inpatient settings are trying to make it very, you know, friendly, you know, safe, and comfortable environment to make the experience, you know, a positive one.
Absolutely. We are in the process actually of updating our units. It's an old building. You know, we are in what once was Providence Behavioral Health, and it was a building that was built back in, 1928 or 38, I believe. But we're in the process of repainting and, doing a lot of aesthetic improvements, if you will. And so taking into consideration paint colors and murals and language that we use to be sure that, it doesn't feel institutional, because it shouldn't be. It's we are not an institution. We are a hospital.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kim, for coming in today, or being on our show today. What is, information that you can give our listeners, if they can reach you, MiraVista?
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you. So I'm going to first give individuals my telephone number. This is my office number at MiraVista and TerraVista. So if anybody, after listening to today's broadcast, has any questions or would like to learn more, I encourage them to call me personally. And that number is 413-888-8255. 264-3042. Our website is www.MiraVistaBHC.care. So between my phone number and our website, if individuals have questions, we're also on social media. We are on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. And so you can always direct message or private message us from any of those sites. And I'm the person who monitors those. So you will be responded to for sure.
All right. Wonderful. Definitely have that as a resource in my back pocket. Thank you so much, Kim. You guys keep up the good work. Keep doing what you do for the community and enjoy the rest of your day.
And you both as well. Thank you for what you both do. In fact, I'm going to ask you both if you would just kindly raise your hand as high as you can. Raise your right hand and bend it at the elbow and give yourselves a good pat on the back for a job well done.
Two pats.
Yes, 2 pats. Yes, Shavon. Yes, absolutely. Two pats for sure for everything you do on the air and off the air as well to improve the lives of individuals in our community. Thank you both.
Thank you so much. I'm your host, Shavon Meyers on Talking Wellness.
Yeah, I'm Kelvin from Kiva.
And we are sponsored by the Kiva Centers, and you're listening to Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection.
Mr. Telephone Man, there's something wrong with my line. What's up, Worcester? I'm Angela Gray, and you're listening to Unity Radio 97.9, Worcester's Community Connection. When I dial my baby's number, I get a click every time.
Hi, I'm Ernie Floyd, host of the Unity in the Community Show on Unity Radio 97.9. Join me and my guest as we discuss topics on embracing our diverse cultural communities, the music, the arts, and healthy lifestyles. I'm Ernie Floyd, host of the Unity in the Community Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. on Unity Radio 97.9, Worcester's Community Connection.